Today, I'm going to show you how to make a delicious California prune pad thai, topped with roasted cashew nuts, and then a yakitori grilled aubergine. It's going to be delicious. Okay, right, so pad thai made with California prunes. What we need to do is get our noodles cooked. Now, the way I cook my noodles is I tend to just soak them in boiling water and then they don't overcook, all right? So we've got a nest or a sort of portion each, big bowl, and just pour boiling water over them, and that's it. Then they don't overcook, they don't go stodgy, and all starchy, so it's just soaking. All right. Like a pad thai, Emily?
I do, yeah. I've only recently tried them, but I do love them, yeah.
It's quite popular nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know where I had the most delicious pad thai ever?
What?
A water park in Cyprus.
Oh.
Who knew?
Who
Right,
knew?
just leave those noodles to soak to one side. Now, we're going to make our pad thai sauce. We're going to use our delicious California prunes. That's going to give us our sweetness. Okay? So let's chop these up. Now, if you wanted to, you could blend them really easily if you wanted to. But I'm going to leave them a little bit, a bit looser, sort of chopped up really nice and fine. So I'm just going to slice them up. So I'm just going to slice the California prunes up, and they will sort of melt away as we make the sauce, okay? Really delicious. Give that sort of natural sweetness. You don't need to add sugar. You can add something that's better for you. So California prunes, super good for you in terms of fibre. What else, Emily? You know California prunes well, don't you?
Oh.
Go on. Is it vitamin K?
Vitamin K, manganese.
Yep. Emily and I have been working hard for the past few years on all the recipe development for California prunes, so we know it well. Emily probably knows the technical more than I do. I know the flavour. So it's got a really sweet sort of richness to it. I've been over to the orchards in California and seen them growing, and you kind of forget that they're a plum. But they're a dried plum, and they're really, really good for you, very high in fibre, and they're good for bone health as well. So if osteoporosis is something that is an issue for you, or it's in your family, you know, it's good to have a sort of, it's almost like a really good insurance to sort of back up that bone health by getting them into your diet, and extra fibre will always pay dividend for you. So chop your California prunes up really, really nice and fine, and then just put those to one side. I'm just going to wash my knife. Right, where's my cloth? Okay, so nice clean knife. Right, let's get this sauce made because our noodles are doing their thing. So let's get a wok on the heat. Okay, I'm using induction, and I've got a wok with a flat base, which will work perfectly on induction. So let's just crack your garlic clove and then just chop through like that. Chopped garlic, and then to go with our garlic, ginger. Ginger and garlic together, so good. It's something about a combination of flavors that just work, and they're kind of like the backbone of so many Asian dishes. It's just that combo of garlic and ginger together. Wherever I can, I'll get it in. Okay, so, and what I don't want to do is chop it really, really fine. So I'm just going to slice it into little matchsticks. And we're going to get our garlic and our ginger going. Okay. Ginger into nice little matchsticks. Now let's just get some oil into our wok. So a couple of tablespoons. And then we want to get in with our ginger.
It's all about quick cooking, isn't it? Hard.
Yeah, get everything ready, I think. You know, get everything chopped, and then you can just concentrate on cooking. All right, so let's get that going. Once that garlic and ginger hit the pan, oh my goodness, it's such a combination. Smells amazing. My mouth is watering.
At the base of this type of cooking, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, let's just let that have a couple of minutes cooking together, getting that ready. Let's go through our ingredients to make our pad thai. So, our oyster sauce, okay? And then I've got a light soy sauce, so it's not too heavy on the salt, okay? If you prefer full strength, full salt soy sauce, I would use a little less. But we're using light today. So, I've got a red onion. Just going to slice that. Nice and fine. And then that's going to go in. So we'll do the other one as well. Just move those back in case you can't see. Why is it I naturally put things in front of your camera?
I know. I'm used to it by now. Oh, garlic and ginger smells delicious.
No. Now remember, if you want any of today's recipes or recipes from the previous episode or the next episode that's coming up, make sure you type free book into the comments and that will launch into Facebook Messenger. Follow the instructions and it will automatically deliver you a beautiful PDF that Emily's created with all the recipes, the images, some shots from California and the orchards, just to really lose yourself in that kind of amazing place that is California. So, in with our red onions.
You'll take me on a business trip one day, won't you?
Yeah, I'm still waiting, California Prunes, for a second invite to come back. And I'll need to bring my photographer and my wife and my 2 children. And Carlos as well, I would imagine. And his wife and his children. It'll be a big party, it'll be an entourage. Okay, so let's mix all that together. Just get that cooking down. So we don't want to overcook these things too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our California prunes that I have chopped. And this is going to be our kind of sweetness, okay? So we'll get those in. And they'll just sort of melt into the dish. But what they do is they give you that extra hit of nutritional value. And I think very much my approach to cooking is big flavors, great ingredients, and as much nutritional value as you can add to that dish is a good thing. And that's what this series is about, is utilizing California prunes and getting as much flavor in, but as much nutritional value as we can, because prunes will pay you back with nutritional value so much. Such an easy ingredient to add. Just working out what flavors work really well. Okay, right. So, we're going to add our oyster sauce in there. And then we are going to add our light soy sauce. And let's just mix that together. Now, here's our noodles, okay? So we soak these at the very beginning, all right? And look, almost cooked. They are what the Italians would call al dente at the moment. I'm just going to steal a little bit of the soaking liquid, because that's got a little bit of starch in, and I want that, because what that now does, it allows me to turn the heat up and cook everything more without it over-reducing too quickly. So this is about taking control of what you're cooking. Not, you control the wok doesn't control you. So by adding that water, it means I've got time now for it to simmer, reduce, everything to melt and come together. And that gives me time to get everything else ready. So we're about a few minutes away from being ready. So we've got some nice spring onions here. So you're going to get some crunch, or scallions, as some of you might call it, or green onion if you're watching over in America. And there are lots of you in America watching us, so thank you for that. So we're going to chop our onions nice and fine along the white. Nice angled slices, and then we'll open up the blade and chop the green a little bit more widely so that you get some nice crunch. Okay, so we'll put that to one side. There we go. Now, cucumber. Not something you might normally add into a stir fry, but I have seen it quite a lot. But what we're going to do is we're just going to cut it in half, long ways. And then I'm going to grab a spoon. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the seeds out because that's all water and that will dilute flavour. So can you see that all right, Emily?
Yeah.
Just push those out. There we go. And let's get rid of those because there's just so much water in there. And it'll kind of, what I'm trying to get is crunch, not water. So we'll just chop those up, sit them there flat. And what we're going to do with these cucumbers is just pickle them in a tiny little bit of lime juice. All right? And we're just trying to make it really easy. So we're just going to pickle them a little bit on the chopping board while everything else is cooking. Okay? So just squeeze that lime juice over the cucumber. And that's it. It's just a light pickle. We'll just let that go. You see how that's all melting down now, Emily?
Yeah.
It's all become kind of a sauce now to absorb all those delicious noodles. So we are almost ready. Told you it was a quick one today, Emily.
Yeah.
Quick episode this. Well, quick recipe. I'm going to show you how to make some delicious yakitori aubergines in a little while. They are good. They are good. Right. So, I think we're about there. Now, if you wanted it spicy, you would add fresh chili in at this point as well. But if you don't add it. It's absolutely fine. You could add a bit of chili oil if you wanted. Whatever you fancy. So I'm just going to turn that down because we've got enough liquid there. Now take your noodles with some tongs, just as we would with pasta, and just sit them in. All right, and we're not going to overstir this. We don't want it to break up the noodles, okay? So what I'm going to do is just give that a little stir, give it a little shake, and then I tend to use my tongs just to get the noodles coated, yeah, like so. And just allow that sort of sweet, salty, garlicky, gingery sauce to coat the noodles. There we go. That's it, perfect. Now at this point, we can add our green onions, all right? So we'll add those in. And we'll add our pickled cucumber in as well. You want to be ready to serve now, okay? You don't want to cook your cucumber because that would just be weird. Okay, you want it crunchy. The whole point is to sort of offer that contrast. So you get the sweet and rich and dark, and then you get that lovely crunch. So if I take our noodles like so, there we go. And then I'm going to grab some of those cucumber and those onions just to make sure that you've got that lovely contrast. And then I've got some cashews here. You could use peanuts. You don't have to add nuts if you don't want to. But I just thought they would be really, really nice to get a bit of crunch. So our cashew nuts have just been roasted gently in the oven for about 10 minutes. We do the whole pack. And then cool them down, and then we have them. There you go. That's how to make a really quick, easy, and nutritionally rich pad thai dish using California prunes. Okay, time for recipe number 2. We're going to make... This recipe is inspired by like the Japanese yakitori chicken, but I thought we'd try and do a vegetarian version. So we're going to treat our aubergine as if it were chicken, or at least I'm going to show you how to do that. So First thing we need to do is soak our bamboo skewers. So I have boiled the kettle and we're going to soak our skewers so that they don't burn on the barbecue. Okay? If you're using reusable like metal ones, then you don't need to worry about that. But it is a good little tip if you are ever barbecuing anything on these little skewers, soak them in boiling water and then they will last much longer on the grill. Okay? Right, so I've got an aubergine, all right? So aubergines are really good if you want to create something a little bit like meat, but with a vegetable, I think. So cut the top off and the bottom. And then we're going to skin it, all right? No, not skin it. We're going to peel it. So, nice sharp knife. And just remove the skin. If you really like the skin, leave it on. But it cooks, it sort of behaves differently to the flesh of the aubergine. So, I like to remove it because it can get a bit tough. Okay, and then aubergine, or eggplant we should also say, shouldn't we, for anyone who gets confused? Because everywhere else seems to call it an eggplant, we call it an aubergine, don't we, here?
Yeah.
Not sure why. Because it's not in the shape of an egg.
Yeah, that's true.
If you call it an eggplant, would you let me know why? That would be really helpful. These are the things that keep me awake at night. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut it. Just take that slice away, and then we're going to cut them, what? About 1.5 centimetre thick slices. Okay. I actually use these. If you salt these and then egg flour and breadcrumb them, they're absolutely delicious. It's really? Just like, you know, like, what would they call it? Like a chicken parmesan. You know, where it's breadcrumbed, or a schnitzel, or, you know, something like that. Is it chicken parma? Yeah. And then you top it with tomato and mozzarella and all those things. It works really well. So, but you need to salt them first to get rid of some of the moisture. Okay, so what we're going to do is, we'll be all right just with 2 at this point, I think. So, we're going to cut our aubergine this way, all right? So into sort of 1.5 centimetre slices.
What gives it the name yakitori?
Yakitori is the sauce.
Right.
And I think it's also the style of cooking.
Yeah.
So you would go to Japan and you would go to a yakitori restaurant and they just do grilling stuff. Right. Over coals, a particular type of charcoal that's absolutely amazing, apparently. I mean, I've not had it before. And everything is specialist. I think there's like a Michelin star restaurant that just does yakitori now. It's that good. So, right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the skewer and we're just going to push it all the way through to one side, and then we're going to do the same on this side. Okay. A little bit there. So now we've got something that doesn't roll around on the grill. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to space them out a little bit so that when we cook it on the grill, we've got loads and loads of space for flavour. So it's like that, yeah? I'm just going to move this to one side because I'll do that one in a minute. Then what we're going to do is we're going to salt it, okay? We'll get some salt on there and that'll just draw a bit of moisture out, okay? And then we'll get a bit of black pepper on there as well. Okay, so let's just pour this water away. We don't need that now, but I do need the bowl because we're going to make our yakitori style sauce on there. So let's just remove that excess seasoning. A messy boy. Okay, right, let's pop that on there. Now, I've got some ingredients here. I've got my California prunes, which will give us our sweetness and some great nutritional value. Added fibre, added iron, good for bone health, just all round. I've got some light soy sauce, I've got some ginger, and I've got some garlic. Great flavours together, okay? And then I'm also going to add in, just because I'm a little bit obsessed, gochujang, which is a fermented Korean chili paste. Not authentic, but really delicious, okay? So, let's find a little bowl to put this in. And what we're going to do is we're going to make this sauce and then we can brush it on the aubergine as it's grilling and it'll be really, really good. It's really good, like if you've got vegetarians and meat eaters coming for dinner and a barbecue or whatever, and you can do both and people will love it, okay? There's no compromise for vegetarians, which I think is really, really good because, I mean, let's face it, not many vegetarians have a great time on a barbecue. Not many, but you can do it. It just takes a little bit of effort, bit of thought. So we'll chop our California prunes up. I do like a prune. We're very lucky. We have a constant supply here, don't we, Emily?
We do.
So it's easy for us to just have a little nibble. We call them our office wine gums. So if we're being good, which generally Emily does, I don't.
Yeah.
We eat the prunes instead of the sweets. So nice and finely chopped, and they will add our sweetness, okay?
So could you use this dressing, if you call
Yeah.
it that, on anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could use, I would, if you were going to yakitori, if you were going to do chicken, use chicken thighs.
Yeah.
Don't use chicken breast. You could do salmon on there, you could do pork, you could do chicken, you know, all sorts. And then obviously different vegetables. You know, you could do pumpkin, that would be quite nice. Obviously, we've got aubergine, you could use courgettes or zucchini, whatever you fancy, really, if I'm honest. So, in with your light soy sauce. Okay, and then in with my new obsession.
Why do they have a light and dark and...
Dark soy sauce is a lot heavier, it's a lot saltier.
So what would you use that for?
Well, I think what you tend to find, I find with dark soy sauce is I tend to finish with dark soy sauce and less of it because it's really rich and heavy and salty.
Yeah.
Whereas with cooking, if you use dark soy sauce, it gets a little bit too intense, a little bit too quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas with light, I can always add a bit more.
Yeah.
And it allows the California prunes and the ginger and the garlic and the fermented chili paste to come through.
Yeah.
And the soy will just sort of become a seasoning. It's a secondary rather than a primary.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so remember, if you've got any questions at all about today's recipes or anything kitchen related, just post them in the comments below and I will answer your question as quickly as possible. Also, if you want the recipes, type free book in the comments and it'll launch into Facebook Messenger and we will send you a PDF automatically into your Facebook Messenger account with all the recipes and some beautiful California prune orchard images, and you'll just lose yourself in California. It'll be great. So, right. So we've got our chili, soy, and California prunes. Now, time for a little bit of ginger, because it'll just work. And we've talked about this before. It's a flavour that really works well with California prunes. It just sort of lends itself beautifully. I've done sort of tasting sessions with California prunes, and it's amazing what prunes work with in terms of flavour. You know, they work really well with miso, which is kind of like salty, which is why we've got the soy. It works really well with ginger, dark chocolate, feta, roasted squash, fresh mint. There's all kinds of flavours that it really, really works with. Walnuts, it works well with. Chocolate, have I said chocolate? Yeah. Dark chocolate's beautiful, really, really nice. So I'm just going to grate the ginger because I want it to just disappear into the sauce. I don't want big chunks of ginger in it, all right? So if you use a really fine plane, you can just grate it in and it comes out like a puree almost, look, like that. And then we're going to do the same with the ginger. Not the ginger, the garlic. So crush your garlic Hopefully that hasn't moved Emily's camera. And then the good thing about this is you don't even need to peel it. Just nick the end off and off you go. There you go.
Your hands won't smell like garlic for the next
Well,
minute.
yeah, they might do. Still a little bit. Still a bit. There you go. Right, let's just clean that up. And then we'll stir this together. So as a bit of a recap, we have got some fermented Korean chili paste. We've got our California prunes. We've got our light soy sauce. We've got garlic and we've got ginger. Okay, in fact, I'm just going to add a little smidgen more of our soy sauce. Let's just add just a little bit more of that light soy sauce just to give us some extra liquid because we want it to kind of absorb and penetrate in to the aubergines, okay? Right, here is our yakitori. So let's just pop that on there and let that marinade in to the aubergine, okay? Lovely. And then any spare that you've got, hang on to it because we're going to brush it on to the aubergine as it grills, okay? Right. Right, so what I'm going to do is